Hi, my cute little cucumbers. I'm so excited for today's Module M. We're talking all around mastering your magnetism and creating mystery within the commitment process to get the man to commit. This one, the beginning, the middle, the end, all of it is so exciting. And I love to put this at play because honestly, anytime I leave my house and when I started to really tap into the principles that I'm going to be walking you through today, if I'm open for it, invitations. I will walk home with a phone number. I will get a coffee bought for me. I've even had a day that I was playing with this. It was like, I'm not going to pay for anything. And literally, I did it. And so it's fun when you tap into this. And this is the art of our feminine. And this is where we get to actually put things into practice. And you get to start to step into these principles and these practices. And it's so good. And I know ultimately the end goal is, right? We want that person. We want our person. We want to figure out what's keeping us from that. Like, that's why I love this program. It's not about necessarily finding the person. It's not like the 5-step formula to find the person. The thing that I love about you guys and the thing about that I love about this program is alchemizing our own love. And when we do that, we're just this lighthouse of love. And that invites in different types of invitations in different types of ways, deep friendships, deep relationships, better relationships with our family. Like, it's so multifaceted. And these principles help with all of that. But we're going to be specifically talking about the relationship process and the dating process and how to really get what you want, that soulmate, that love. And so I'm so excited about this one. I want to hear all about it inside of our Telegram group. And then if you are in that space where you're like, I want more one-on-one, I want more depth, I want more personalization, I do have VIP. And so if you want to continue this conversation, because I know we are coming up, oh my God, we're almost on the end. If you want more within this and you want more one-on-one, we have some VIP available for a cheeky little discount. So message me or my team if you want that. And also, if you have any review, I'd love to hear what this program did for you. It means the world to me, one, to hear that, like to see how this is shifting for you, and also to hear honest feedback. Like, if you didn't like it, if something didn't land for you, if you want a different something or other, like that really helps us create the most extraordinary experiences for you. Like I said in the beginning, this is a two-way conversation. And then if you're loving it, using testimonials, y'all know it's so powerful. So you're going to see that in I've almost said show notes, in the comments of this, and you're going to see it in the email. If you want to take some moments to fill that out, it means the world. It really freaking does. So thank you in advance for that. And so getting into this beauty of life, it's funny because relationships, right? It's like we crave this certainty. Esther Perel talks about this all the time. We crave this, especially for us that have been through trauma. I want something that is consistent. I want something that is safe. I want something that's predictable. But if something becomes too safe, too predictable, too consistent, I get bored. I also want the passion and the lust and the ripping of the clothes and the mystery and all the things. And so these are our 6 human needs, right? That Tony Robbins talks about, where we have certainty, uncertainty, and variety, significance, connection, love, growth, and contribution. And we work through all those. And the art of dating, the art of understanding polarity, the art of understanding everyone, is that we have to have certainty and uncertainty. We have to have consistency and safety and passion and mystery. And so to create magnetism, that's what we're looking at. So in this lesson, we're going to be talking about how to increase your mysterious allure and your magnetism. We're going to be talking about how to inspire men to come on to you more strongly. We're going to emphasize this a little bit more in this module because I know we talked about it in the previous 2. How he looks at the commitment process and how to use that to your advantage when it comes to long-term partnership, which is ultimately what we're looking for in the end, right? Maybe it's not right now. Maybe it's you're deepening your relationship now, all the kind of things, but that long-term. What makes men go after one woman versus another, and then what men truly need, what the masculine truly needs in order to claim you in his life forever. It's so good, right? And that's why this stuff, like the whole journey a huge thing that's been coming fresh to me lately. If you're watching this new and live, if you're watching this later, I'm sure this has already become something in their brand. But it's doing the work like this becomes this like pre-housewife era. It's this like, we take these months in between. And instead of single meaning I'm looking for my next person, it's important, of course. But there is these months, this month, where I'm open to meeting my new person, but most importantly, I'm looking at becoming a better partner. And what I mean by this is a lot of us are running around looking to be chosen. I did this for years, I didn't know this was a big block of mine, where it was like, I want to find my husband. That's what I'm looking for. That's why I moved back to the States. That's why I did all the things that I do. Da 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 da. I'm looking for my husband. And it wasn't until I realized that it's more than looking for your husband. It's, are you ready to become a wife? Because if you are, that means we have to understand our partners. And if you're in my world, I know I talk about male, female. And if you're anyone that differs from that, it's just the masculine and the feminine. We can all balance in these energies, but because my community is more in the masculine, feminine, the male, female relationships, that's what I speak to. That's what I know. That's what I can speak about, right? And so when we're in that stage, it's really looking at, are you also ready to become a wife? Because if you are, that means taking the pause and taking relationship off the table for a little bit, which is what the beginning modules were about, and then integrating the pre-housewife shit. And then you get to kind of be in this space where it's like, okay, now I'm looking to actually be a better partner. And in order to be a better partner, I need to understand them, understand that they are not just hairy females, right? Like what turns them on, what drives them, what's their passions, what keeps them regulated, because they're often not in spaces like these. And so we get to lead in that way, but from a place of open heart. And so the main goal for today is that you're going to claim how rare and valuable you are. You're going to claim that you're the Amor Alchemist, that you're just a walking beacon of love, and you're a lighthouse, and you're rare and you're valuable. And by stepping into your feminine essence, you're so full that you call in your soulmate. It might not happen tomorrow, 3 months from now, but it will happen because you are rare and valuable, and no longer is this a guessing game of it's going to happen. It's just when, right? And so how do we get there? How do we get to this end result? What's the process of getting us there? The first is how to increase your mysterious allure to magnetize. This is where the polarity aspect comes into play. We talked about it last time. Polarity as masculine and feminine, they're like magnets to each other. They attract each other. And if you are in my world, I'm going to assume that you are looking to attract a masculine man, a fucking Viking. I love to say that. I'm a Viking, like this, like man. Which means you have to be in your feminine, which means you have to dismantle the shields and all the things that are keeping you protected. And we already covered that before, but I just really am going to emphasize that these last few modules, because in order to call that in, you have to be that. You have to open yourself to love. You have to, it's no more that doing, it's no more proving, it's no more competing. It is, I'm love. And so creating this mystery and allure is opening yourself to receiving. And we talked about this last time a bit, but it's feeling into your heart. And anytime you leave the house and you feel up to it, it's not every time, it's anytime you feel up to it, you leave the house and you're like, I'd be open to some invitations. Men nowadays, the fear of rejection is real for a lot of them. And so giving them the okay to pursue is very powerful. So say what I do at a coffee shop, right? So I'll go to a coffee shop, and mind you, this was something that was super hard for me. I remember a time after my abuse, and I don't even like to say my abuse, the chapter of life that had domestic violence in it. It was hard for me to hold eye contact. It's very common with people that have been through and survived trauma. You might be navigating this to hold eye contact. And I remember being on a date and a guy going, can you just look at me? like, just look at me. And he like grabbed my face, and it was a lot at the time. I was like, I can't, like, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize I was doing that. But like, it's just a very intimate for me. And I'm afraid of that right now. And it was this moment that I had to start to practice this. And so I would go on walks and I would hold eye contact. I would, things that weren't in an intimate setting, I would go and I would hold eye contact. And so I would just go on walks and I'd hold it until that person looked away. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. I would practice with my friends, making sure that when I was speaking to them, I was looking at them like straight in the eye, and I was making sure that I was looking at them. You know, on the back of iPhones, there's like 3 things. So I'm making sure that I'm like looking at them. So I'm sorry if my eyes are darting around as I'm talking about eye contact. I don't know which one it is. I think it's this one. So I'm kind of bouncing around. Anyway, speaking of eye contact. And so I would practice in those arenas and just kind of playing on my walks or with my friends until it got to be the point that anytime I would go on dates, I would like challenge myself. And it's funny that that happens, but now at coffee shops, it doesn't even make me sweat. Like going into a coffee shop and I like see someone, I'll like extensively hold eye contact, give a little smirk, and then look back down. That's all you have to do. That's it. You don't walk up to them. You don't give them your phone number. You don't pursue them, because if you want a masculine man, he pursues you. He may not pursue you, and that's okay, but at least you're practicing these invitations, and that invites him. And that gives him this, oh, I'm not going to be rejected if I come in. And so you can practice this at the bar. You can practice this at coffee shops. You can practice this on a walk. Like, it's just this fun little game that you are open to receiving an invitation right now. Grocery stores, all the things. So just open yourself up, and you can feel it in your heart. Like, what is going back to the heart coherence? It's just like getting back into your heart. Like when you're out in spaces, just feeling it. How far can your love reach? How more can you open your heart as soon as you, even sitting here listening to this, can you extend your love to me right now? Can you feel that just openness? It just feels lighter. It feels open. It feels connected. And this allows you to get into your feminine because now you're open to receive. And so playing this anytime you leave the house. The second one that happens with this is, or the third, I guess, because we talked about polarity, is when it comes to mystery, this isn't about playing games. It's not. It is about pacing. Masculine's going to come in hot. I've talked about this a lot. They are going to come in hot. They're going to think you're the fucking hottest thing since like your job is to pace. This is why when I'm dating, I take sex off the table until it's a committed relationship. That is a personal choice. You are allowed to do whatever the heck you want, but one, sex is literally a drug. Like the hormones that get intertwined with it, it is love is a drug. Like it's wild what it does. If you want to go research that, maybe I'll come out with a program sometime about this and sexual energy and things like that. But it really is a drug. So it dilates your pupils, all the things. And so I personally choose to take it off the table when I'm dating so that I can actually get to know someone, and it creates a pace. And that's not a game. That's not me withholding sex for my partner. I don't know them. It's one of my mentors gave the analogy around chocolate cake. If you give someone a piece of chocolate cake on their birthday, they love it. They'll probably have it for like the week, and they're kind of pacing it out, and they'll have it whenever, and they'll freeze it, and they'll do whatever, all the stuff. If they ate that whole chocolate cake on that day, it's kind of sick, and they don't want chocolate cake anymore. And so when you're giving someone everything and you're not pacing yourself, and you're trauma spilling on the first date, and you're telling them everything from all the things and getting to know you and giving them all the codes to you, there is no mystery. There's no excitement of getting to know you more, taking you on the 18th date to learn all these things. Like there's just, oh, that's it. I'm sick of chocolate cake. And so it's pacing it out, letting him pursue you, letting him gain access to you over time. And this doesn't mean like close yourself off and be like, you know, people like that where it's like reserved and you're kind of timid and you're like, oh, like I can't show you all of me because if you don't know, it's still being your authentic self. It's just pacing, leaving little snippets. And this also comes from like you having your full life. And we're going to talk about this in a bit, but like you have your individuality, you know, women, we have this fun thing where we have like 7 personalities. Don't give him all of them. And also don't go crazy on him with all of them. Like, because there's also that joke where like men are like, oh my God, I don't know which one I'm gonna get today. In those, that's when it's the feminine pain body hasn't been regulated. But when it is regulated, it's kind of fun. Like for me, it's like I'm the rocker chick, I'm the boho chick, I'm the bougie bitch, I'm this hippie that shoves like yoni eggs in her vagina. I sit under a space buddy, I'm a fucking CEO. Like there's these parts that come out, and when you love them and you know them, it's fun. Like if you've ever seen your partner around old friends and you haven't like seen them with their friends and you're like, who the fuck is it? If you like, it could challenge you, or it can be like so hot and exciting. You're like, this is another version of you I don't know. This is amazing. Like that's how this process gets to be. And so it really does come from this art of pacing. And so also in the beginning stages, I want to say this, let him pursue you. Like this isn't playing games, but men are naturally hunters. I've emphasized this a lot. They want to pursue you. They want, that's their thing. So don't text first. Don't, like even in the beginning stages of like thinking of you, no, I don't recommend it because it's, yes, it gives this emotional connection and stuff. But again, that's access to you over time where your life is so full, you're not thinking of them. Your art in this whole mystery stage and this pacing stage is if they are not in front of you, they're not there. This is how we heal those codependency wounds and those attachment things. And so it's like, yeah, sure, you can like give snippets to your friends and whatever, but it's like doing this, I wish you were here and sending photos and keeping you updated, da, 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 da. There's no mystery. There's no whatever. But like when you're with them, yes, the vulnerability, the open, the depth, the playful, the creative, the loving, the nurturing, like that is an art form. But treating someone like your boyfriend before they've even claimed you, that's too much access. And so creating a little bit of letting them pursue you, let them set up the dates of when they're going to see you next in the beginning, let them text you first. This is why I like apps like The League or Hinge better than Bumble, because they can pursue you and they can plan to see you. It's not you setting it up. It's not you doing the things. It's you being in your feminine, and you just get to receive whenever it is. And so play with that. Just notice what comes up. Another thing with the whole texting thing is like, we get addicted to that hormone that comes with the text. Dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin and whatever. Like we get so excited, we get addicted to that. So before texting back, it's not a game to do this. It's regulating yourself. So wait until that settles down so you don't get addicted to that hormone where you're like, he texted me, because then you're like waiting on your phone and you're like, is he going to text me? Because that high just felt really good and I want that hit again. As opposed to you regulate yourself so your body's not getting addicted to that. That's what I recommend, but do what you want. That's how I found to help with my codependency and my anxious attachment. And so how he looks at the commitment process and how to use that to your advantage when it comes to long-term commitment. So men desire emotional connection as well. It's just in a different way that we do, right? So he's not a big thing that I get very annoyed about is when I hear about women, my clients being like, he's like challenging me on the date and wanting to know how much my little business is making and all these kind of things. And they're like competing with him or like challenging his knowledge and having these debates and doing these things. Like, you're in your masculine, stop doing that. Like catch yourself anytime you're competing with your man of like wanting to be right or wanting to do these things of like, no. And like, it's the debate. That is so masculine, and that's not ultimately what men want. They do that with their boys. Let them do it. And it's okay. You can have like some stuff. It's just what type of relationship you want. That's not what I want. I want a masculine man that's going to protect me and I'm going to be in my feminine. And so men do desire emotional connection. It's through, when they come, it's really looking at, is she loving? Is she kind? Is she fun to be around? Is she compassionate? Is she passionate? Is she in her purpose? Is she open? Is she vulnerable? Is she authentic? Is she connected to her heart? Is she a mother? Is she in her nurturing? Like those things, that's what they're scanning for. Do I feel safe in the presence of you? Do I feel like I can be all of me with you? Are you giving me the space to feel fully accepted? Or are you trying to change me and planning all these things and blah, 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 all this stuff that we kind of do? This goes back to understanding the fears and the desires of the masculine and the feminine that I talked about in the Q&A, where the men, they want to be appreciated and respected. That's their biggest things that they want. They want to be appreciated and respected. Their biggest fear is not measuring up, being criticized and shamed. And so watching how you're speaking to them, are you seeing him as the God that he is? Not that he is God. I don't really like that comparison, because I am a huge believer in God, but like, in his highest, he's leading you. He's not your leader, but he is leading you. He's your equal. How are you speaking to him? Are you giving him that assurance and that appreciation? And, being in that type of way, are you cutting him down? Speaking to him like he's a little boy, or speaking to him like a past relationship that you had. These things really matter. And for women, it's, I want to be loved and cherished. And so imagine how you feel so strongly about how you want to be loved and cherished. That's how strongly he feels about wanting to be respected and, being understood and appreciated. Like, that is what he wants. And so, and our biggest fear is being abandoned. So not just physically, but like to feel unsafe. And so the next one is that they have a need for independence, and men hate saying no. They really fucking hate it. So you have to give him opportunities to do that. And that comes from you having your independence, not walls up independence, but like, we do this thing, we come in hot and heavy, especially those with insecure attachment, of like, I want to hang out with you every day and I want to do this, and we match their intensity, and then it doesn't stop, and I want to have date night, and you're in town and you travel all the time, and then when you're in town, I want you. Like, know your man. Your man wants independence. If he has just been on a long trip, he's going to want a few hours to recoup by himself. You're excited to see him, and that's totally normal, and that's totally okay, and that's cute, and he's going to love it when he sees it. But he's just been on a work trip for his entire fucking however long. He wants to come back and relax. Give him that. That doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. That doesn't mean he doesn't want you. That doesn't mean he's not excited to see you. It does mean when he gets that time to himself, he gets to be fully with you, which is what you want anyways. So making sure you have your independence, especially in early stage dating. Only see them once a week. Pace it. And as time starts to go, it's just like, seeing each other throughout the day, not these like long extended things. Like, it's a lot. And the long-term commitment game is that they feel that they do have their independence and they can keep their independence. That's a huge thing. The ball and chain and all the kind of jokes that men make, like, it's true, because we have different needs. And so when your life is filled with your girlfriends and your work and your spiritual practice and your time by yourself and your growth and your stuff, it stops with this codependency towards him. And he's like, oh, I can actually be myself and I can actually make this space. And he's doesn't have to tell you no, because you're not having to push him in these directions of things he doesn't want to do. He like now wants to be of service to you because you're providing him with this access to his independence. Next one is importance of trust and respect. Men want your trust. So if you are projecting your feminine pain body onto him, and you're projecting this lack of respect of men onto him, and men always do this and that, like these things that we do, the nitpicking, the criticizing, the cutting them down, like talking about men in certain ways. That's why you will never hear me say bad things about men. Like, I love them. Even anyone that's ended a relationship with me, I'm like, I honor and respect you for the fucking decision you just made. Thank you. Like, you're brilliant. You're leading this. Fine. Like, it's such a different take on things. Instead of like all men are cheaters or all things are this, like, men want to be trusted. And when we start to shift this narrative and do this work of like, do you trust you? Do you trust you? This changes that whole narrative. This starts to shift the whole thing, the whole game, because it's no longer, and the thing about trust, right? It's built over time. What we want is, and what trust is not that, I'm not necessarily talking about the like, are you going to cheat on me trust and things like that. It's like, if I'm blindfolded, can I trust you to take me exactly where I want to go? And when I open my eyes, I know it's going to be for me. That is built up over time. They're not going to get that right away. That goes back to the module of like, we teach people how to love us. We walk people through this. And that's from how we love ourselves. But the only way we can give trust to another human being is if you deeply trust yourself. So how are you showing up for yourself? How are you respecting yourself so that the internal dialogue you have with yourself isn't spilling onto them if it's negative? The internal dialogue that you have with yourself is like, I love myself so much. I'm so full. I'm so trustworthy. I keep my commitments. I do my things. Of course you love me. Of course you know what I want. Of course. And so that, it's not this, you're not doing this for me and you're not doing that for me. Anything they do for you is a value add because you're already doing it for yourself. And not that you're taking that away from them, but it's like, even if they don't get it right, they at least tried. That builds trust and you're giving them your trust. And it's like, oh, that's so freeing. And then appreciation for compatibility. Men, they want long-term commitment. Are you compatible? Do you like the same things? Did you put on a fucking front in the beginning of dating and now all of a sudden you're 3 months in and you're being your true self and then we're wondering what's going on? That's why it's so important to show up as your authentic expression in the beginning of dating. Who are you? What do you like? Yes, of course, there's compromise and trying different things, but like, is he on the same spiritual growth path you are? Do you guys like reading, or does one of you like going out and the other one likes staying in? Like, sometimes that works, but like, where is the common ground? What makes you compatible? This is so, so important. Communication, emotional expression, men that have different communication styles than us, for sure, but do they feel that you have an open communication? Are you a safe person for them to say no to? Are you a safe person for them to come to? Are you a safe person for them to soften with? Not that they're like crying all the time to you, but most men don't really have places to go. So when they find a woman that they can speak to, are you a safe place for them to explore all that stuff with? Or are you like mentoring them, getting into the mothering energy, getting into the mentoring energy, which are all both masculine? Or are you just there to like hold space? Are you easy to talk to? This is the compliment I get from every guy I've ever dated. It's so easy to talk to you. Because you're regulated, when you can hold space without needing to fix, without needing to do. It's like you just are there and they know you're not going to blow up on them because they said the wrong thing or they did the wrong thing. It's like, I can come to you for everything. That follows in with like the patience and the understanding and, being able to navigate these challenges is how you respond. I always talk about where it's like the first time someone tells you something that they're scared to tell you. I remember when one of my partners told me something that he was terrified to tell me. And the way he came in, he had tears in his eyes. I knew it wasn't going to be good. I was like, what's going on? But I had dropped my energy. And what I mean by drop my energy is I regulated myself and I dropped my energy into my womb space to just like hold it. So I want to get rid of it. I want to use it, Like, okay, dropped it. And he told me what he had to tell me. And I just held his hands and he cried even harder. And he's like, I didn't expect you to react that way. Like, I don't even know what to say. And that opened up a channel for him that he expressed to me where it was like, I knew after that moment I could come to you with anything because you didn't react. You didn't get mad at me. You didn't quiz me. You didn't blame me. You just were a safe person for me to come to with the hard stuff. And this matters the first time someone comes to you. And this isn't a people pleasing thing. This isn't a fawning thing and fight, freeze, fawn, like whatever protection mechanism. It's you're a flawed individual that is probably going to fuck up from time to time. How do you want to be met when that happens? Can you give the same grace and compassion to the person that you want to start a life with? It matters. It really does. And also, like, how nurturing can you be when they're sick and they actually do? Like, there's these things of like, how patient can you be with them? They're going to be a little bit slower sometimes. It's going to take a while for them to get to learn you. It's okay because you're so full, right? And so all of these are, oh, and then what makes a man go from one woman to the other? Or not go from one woman to the other, choose one woman over the other. How do we get the womanizer? No, how do they choose? And so all of these things, like it's who you are. Do you have your own life? Are you aligned with your purpose? Are you compassionate? Are you kind? Are you in your feminine essence of being loving, nurturing, creative, present, heart open in your receivership? That's ultimately what a man wants. What a man wants. A man that's ready for his wife, that's what he wants. If a man is just looking for a warm body, you will never be good enough for that person. Like they're just they're looking for some type of staple, but I know you're looking for your soulmate. And so it's looking at, are you ready to be a wife, and are you showing up as such in these ways of being a teammate, not just looking and putting on a performance in order to be chosen. People feel that, but the actual energy of like, I've done this work. I know me. I know what I offer. I know that I'm rare and valuable. I'm here. I'm ready to be a wife. That either scares people off, and it's okay, because sometimes we think we'll get into relationship and you're such a good woman and they want to love you. They really do, but they're just not there yet. And that's because they didn't claim that they want to be a husband. And that means nothing about you. But you knowing so rock solid in yourself that you are rare and valuable and that you are looking for your husband, that's rare. That's valuable. And then the other thing is like, are you making him feel like a man? Are you doing the things that I just spoke about earlier? Are you making sure that all of these bases, that you've taken this time and you're playing with this stuff, and you're not gonna, it's okay if you don't get it right all the time. What is your bounce back? Right? Especially as you're navigating trauma, like there's things you can do outside of relationship and there's only things you can do in relationship. And so sometimes triggers will come up and it's just like, how good are you at saying sorry? And how good are your conflict resolution skills? That is the number one thing in any relationship. How good are your conflict resolution skills? That is your survival rate in any of this. When the pain body comes out, did you sit, reflect, come up with solutions, come up with how you guys can tag team this together? How, ownership, because it exists. I remember times, I would have straight PTSD attacks in relationship and I'd be so embarrassed of it. But I would sit and I'd take time by myself and I'd be like, I noticed this happened and I'm feeling this way. I'm doing this outside of the relationship to work on this. I'm in therapy, I'm in programs, I'm doing these things. But this one part in our relationship really does activate me right now. And I'm not saying it's a forever thing, but can you support me on that? Like men are task driven humans. So if you give them a task, right? As opposed to, you did this wrong, I felt this, therefore I did this, you're a bad boy, shame on you. It's like, I felt this. And the way that I see it is, I'm working on this outside of the relationship, because your relationship is not necessarily where you're doing all the work, right? It's just where you become aware of something and then you go and you get the support that you need, whether that's with me in VIP or you go to therapy or what have you. It's, you become aware of it in relationship and then you go heal it outside of relationship. And so you come in, you say, what have you, and it's like, hey, and then I noticed this happened. Do you feel like, can you do this to help facilitate me, support me in this, like in that type of way? And they're like, fuck yeah. Like literally that's what my partner did. He was like, fuck yeah, like task, I'm in. Like, of course, baby, there's nothing more in this world that I would want to do than support you, because also it gets him from, not hurting me, and he doesn't want to hurt you. Good men don't want to hurt you, they just sometimes don't know, right? So making sure that these things are all communicated and expressed, where it's like, are you good at conflict resolution? Are you looking at these things? And we'll talk more about this when we get into the last module about yearning and, coming from a space of love. And then the last one, don't get mad at me about this. Men are visual creatures. Take pride in your appearance. Don't get mad. It's not a way of saying, if you're hot, then they'll stick around. No, but they're visual. They'll open up. I had a friend ask me this the other day. She's like, how is it that every time you leave the house, you get an invitation? I'm like, every time I leave my house, I look fabulous. And I have no shame in saying that. I love the way I dress. I think it's an art form. I talk about this in Boundless Bonita. It's my favorite thing. I love getting ready because it makes me feel beautiful. I am my best artwork. And coming from someone that, had an eating disorder and had all these things and needed to be drunk in order to feel confident and use drugs in order to feel confident. It's like, now it's just, I think I'm cute. So I want to dress it. And it's not to say that this is what keeps relationships, because it's not. It's the insides, it's the soul, it's the healing, it's the inner wifey, right? But your body is your physical expression. Fall in love with that. Take care of it. Get well, rest well, like connect again. To attract a high value partner, you have to be a high value woman. You have to be a high quality woman. That doesn't happen when you meet the man. It comes from you claiming that you are that right now and showing up as her. Like I talked about the 10x version of self. So it's like, your high quality woman. What is she doing? How is she sleeping? What is she eating? How does she dress? How does she speak? What does she listen to? Who does she surround herself with? How does she show up for her people? How does she take space for herself? What is she doing? Start doing that. You're already in this program, but start doing that. This is where everything begins to change and shift and mold. And, it starts to no longer waiting for this knight in shining armor to come fix you and make you feel better and whatever. It's you just claim it because you're high value and your standards are high. And it goes back to module LEE, the one that was right before this. I'm like doing the alphabet back, trying to spell alchemy backwards. Whoa, that was wild. Doing all these things. And so all of this, making sure, looking at what makes the man choose one woman over the other, looking at and understanding the commitment process, looking at, how to increase the mystery and allure. All of these help you ultimately get to your end goal, which is find love. And that comes from love itself within, right? Like any love that you feel from someone is just the mirror back for the love that you have with yourself. And so it's going on this process of understanding these things about another person, because now you can understand them with compassion and love without needing to fix, without needing to think anything is wrong with you or wrong with them. Like they're just brilliant human beings on this planet, and we're different and we're compromising, and every opportunity is an opportunity to grow and learn different things. Like they're not going to be a copy and paste model of you. It's just now learning, are we compatible? Are we not? That's okay. It doesn't mean anything about me if we're not. Like it's just learning these things. And I think if we knew more about men, it would save a lot of stuff. And if we knew more about mystery and allure and pacing and femininity, it would save so many heartbreaks, baby. So use these tools, let me know how it goes inside of our Telegram group, and enjoy this embodiment practice. Enjoy the journal prompts. You're going to see the embodiment practice is you getting naked with yourself and getting confident in your body and looking at the things that you love, because when you can truly fall in love with this vessel, you're magnetic as fuck. Whether you just had children, whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you're whatever, and I don't even like to say old, but like all the complaints we have, falling in love with this vessel and being so neutral changes the game and is the most magnetic thing about you. When you're so comfortable with who you are and in your body, and you now, like, you're sitting in front of them and you're not worried about like what your bits are doing and what your body is doing and how you look or how things are. Like the only thing I'm worried about right now is if my nipples pop out, but even then I'll send you my Venmo. It's literally like when you get comfortable with this, and it's a practice. Like I said, I struggled with an eating disorder for 15 years. I didn't think I'd ever be here. And now my body is boldly spread on the internet because I reclaimed it. Some people don't like it. I don't give a fuck. I love it because it's my proudest thing that I see this body and I'm like, yeah. And that came from doing this mirror work that I'm going to walk you through. So enjoy this practice and the journal prompts and the deepening. And then next session, we're going to be in our last session. Oh, It's so sad. Anyways, our last session is why yielding to a higher plan and generating more fucking love, baby. And so this is for you if you are ready to become the walking, the breathing, the earth shattering a more alchemist. If you are ready to shift your mindset around dating so that it actually rejuvenates you and feels good, and you're ready to call in the love of your life this year. If you are tired of getting in your own way and you're ready to crack the code so that you can actually make this the program that shifts you. You know, we've probably read some books and listened to podcasts and done some things. This is the thing that gets to change you. So we're going to talk in creating the longevity of that, and then how to bounce back when things don't go as planned. You know, it's not that you just do a program and the next person you meet is it, although that has happened several times with my clients, but what if it doesn't? I want to talk about that. So we don't have this fear, we don't have this block, we don't have the things, so that ultimately when we get to the end and we are in this space, it's like, there's my person, there's my soulmate. And it's you being so fucking complete in who you are that you call in a complete and whole human being. So I love you. I'm excited. I'll chat with you in Telegram. Like I said, you can jump into VIP, which is a freaking vibe. If you're looking to take this a step further with some personnel support, that can look of various different degrees, but we do have the 6-month one, and then we can do some Voxer. We can play with it. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can do. So just reach out if that's what you want. We also have Arrival, the membership. Y'all can jump into there. It's a monthly membership with trainings. What else? The follow-up, if you want to, or if you could, maybe if you want to, just if you could fill out the form of how this is going for you. It helps me update modules, add things that you need, extra support documents, like what in this program worked for you and what do you need more of. The testimonials, they help so much, so fucking much. And it helps me create the best program that's on the internet, because this is going to be my legacy. This is changing the world. I already know it. It's changed my world. Hopefully it's changing yours. I know it is. But this helps create all the things. Plus you guys get the added modules. So it's not like I create it and then you're kicked out. Like, you guys get the bonus modules. So just making sure this experience is extraordinary for you, that means the world to me. So I love you so freaking much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. I just realized how low I was in this. Okay, bye.